Stephen Shields Radio Show.
To the Stephen Shields Radio Show today, and a lot of problems have been going on with industrial action that is happening with Transport Sydney trains today. It's been going on all weekend, and unfortunately people are just sick and tired of railway union workers not wanting to turn up to work and basically whinging and complaining. They want more money and going 23 kilometres an hour or slower on a train. I saw on TikTok, 20-minute train commute turned out to be a 1.5 hour train ride because the train person over the announcement said, apparently she said, she didn't have a lunch break. And all this crew relief bullshit that's been happening. Now, you got to see it from commuters' point of view. There was talks about was the state government going to go and sack all the union workers because obviously someone's around here stirring up the shit. Okay. I feel that the point I'm trying to make, there's a mosquito hanging around, he can get lost. When people got to rely on public transport and especially the trains, and they're not working, and then having to get on overcrowded buses, which is frustrating as hell. And you want to go and commute to footy games or cricket concerts, and then you have to deal with this shit, added problems. There's been times, I remember at one time I had to get a bus from Glenfield Station to the city and it took a 3-hour commute. And by the time you get off all the places, it is very annoying, and it turns out to be, it's a 3-hour commute. Then that's a 6 hours of traveling altogether just for an hour and a half trip, roughly. Include that when you're driving to the station, stopping at traffic lights, finding parking, it all adds up to your commute time. Okay. And commuters are fed up with this stuff because you're having a timetable that's all in a mess. You're looking your TripView app, and when you're seeing services that are cancelled and are running 3 hours behind, then what's the other choice? And if there's not enough bus services going, then this is just ridiculous. It really is ridiculous, and people need to get home. And especially if you've got to commute to work. If you work in the city or wherever. Not everyone can afford a car. And they need public transport, okay? So that's how it is. Now, I feel that sooner or later, okay, it gets to the point where this has got to stop, because you can't keep going on like this with industrial action. This has been over 75 days. The union still can't come across an agreement with the Chris Minns government, the state government. Okay. And I'm starting to worry. I told you, I am worried where Australia is heading. Now, today, inflation went down, which is good. It eases pressure off people, rate cut as well. Anthony Albanese, I don't know, still hasn't announced when the federal election is going to be. Why can't the state government and the unions come across to an agreement and the unions, the state government are trying their best. Apparently it's gone to the Fair Work Commission. But why is the union playing games here? All right. I think union workers were actually told to not turn up to work. They want more money. They want more pay. Now, something's got to happen because it can't go on like this. I'm telling you. It disrupts everything. It disrupts the economy because then how can people go out and enjoy their nightlife if you're a nightlife person or you want to go to the footy or whatever? Because going to the footy puts money into the economy in those stadiums, and then people can't turn up, then there's low numbers turning up to the events. Okay. So that's how it is. I'm not happy. And then the talks of driverless trains going ahead, planning to have driverless trains, and then replacing people's jobs. You would think that if you're working for Transport Sydney Trains, it's a government job. You've got plenty of job security. You've got all your sick leave benefits, your holiday pay, and all that. So what more does the union want? So I'll keep reporting on this stuff. I'll keep you guys updated on the show because it affects me. It affects everyone. That people want to play politics with the train. So that's the frustrations we have. Not only that, you've got Western Sydney Airport that's being built at the moment. I don't know what's going on with that. Has the Australian Labor government failed the Australian people? Is my question for you. Put it in the comments. Wherever you're listening to the show, let me know what you think. Again, it's up to who you vote for, whether you're a member of the union. I don't know. But for what I see, it's just not fair that this is happening. And like I said, people need to use the train for an essential service. When I checked the train timetable today on TripView, it looked like services were going. And to have these problems on a working day, and then what if people have had to go to work in the morning, and then you're having to rely on taxis and Ubers to get you home? So then that's going to cost you extra money. Okay. So it's important for us to speak up about these issues of public transport. Because how are we going to get around? The other thing about the two nurses who got sacked at Bankstown Hospital, I was quite disgusted with it. And I did an episode and I did get quite angry and upset to see that in the health system. There was an article in the Daily Telegraph, Dr. Mike Freelander shared his view, and he said that you can read, no one in the healthcare system should be basically discriminating people because of race and religion, you're Jewish, whatever. I don't know what decided those two nurses to go off their head like that, but it was just disgusting. Like I said, I would never expected this to happen. Two nurses at Bankstown Hospital would do such a thing like this. I'm getting sick and tired of all this bitching and arguing and PC culture and discrimination going around. You're right, you're wrong. Anti-Semitism, hate speech, bullying, whatever it is. I'm getting fed up with it, guys. Obviously, on my show, I say I believe in free speech, and I will always support free speech, but I do not accept hate speech or bullying, and that's what those two Bankstown nurses did. Was just disgusting to say that stuff, honestly. Yeah, I was quite upset when that came out. I was distressed, actually. Now, can't go on like this, okay? Australia can't keep going on like this. I would hope that at the next federal election that we vote carefully, we choose who we're going to vote for, and we take our voting very seriously, because we need to take voting seriously. We've seen it in these 4 years under the Labor government, what's happened. Inflation went up. Cost of living crisis, that's been a problem. Housing crisis too. Mental health crisis, and I want to talk a bit more about mental health on the show today. You see, in rural areas, sorry about that. In rural areas of New South Wales, you got Kempsey, okay? And not everyone can afford private practice. Now, people up there in Kempsey, even remote areas of Australia, here too, Western Sydney, I'm going to say all around Australia, are using Medicare service. But the problem is private practitioners are not happy with the Medicare rebate. Yes, the Medicare rebate has gone up, but they're not happy because it's not enough to keep the costs of the private practice going. So they want to go private. They know too that not everyone can afford private practice and have to rely on Medicare, which is good that we have Medicare and we have the referral from our GP. I think there's talks that you can get 20 sessions of psychology or whatever through Medicare, which is better. 10 sessions is just not enough to be seeing a psychologist in private practice. You need more. There's NDIS, of course. Obviously, the problem here is money, because unfortunately, to run a private practice costs money. And the problem is, from what I saw, our GPs here in New South Wales doing split billing or bulk billing pensioners, concession card holders. Was there talks that we're going to move into the United States health system where it's just going to cost money? And paying medical bills on credit card is not a good idea as well, and it should never happen. I think there was a psychologist in Kempsey, he's 80, he can't retire because no one else wants to take over the business. And there was an article I read where it's no one wants to move up around Kempsey to practice privately. People are waiting longer in those remote areas to see psychiatrists, psychologists, because longer wait times. Here too in Western Sydney, 6 months for me just to see an ear, nose and throat doctor privately. That's private practice. Our health system is stretched to the limits. There's not enough GPs, doctors out there. That's what's happened. Even private practice where you got to pay, you have to wait. It can be frustrating. So that, and the mental health crisis too is gone up quite a lot. The world's changed from when I was a kid. Yeah, I can remember, look, I didn't have the best childhood either. But when I was a kid, I remember things like, you remember the days of Blockbuster, Video Easy, used to go rent a movie on a Friday night or a Saturday night. But now we've moved into a world of streaming, data collection, data harvesting, and it's like entertainment gone up in price too. So, yeah, I do talk a lot about streaming services and how they've increased over time. They'll just keep going up in price it's going to piss off a lot of people eventually. And eventually, well, if it keeps going up, people are just going to have to say, well, I'm going to walk away from it. That's it. And we do need entertainment, especially with all the garbage that's going on in the world today. Has anyone been at a time of their life where they feel that they're lost, feel that they're not achieved enough? Unfortunately, the world revolves around money. Money is just a tool. But it's yet, why does money create mental health problems, stress, anxiety, depression, fear? Why does money break up families, friendships, whatever? Again, this is my opinion that I'm talking. You can disagree and you're allowed to. But unfortunately, when we live in a world driven by money, paying bills, utilities, insurance, it just never ends. And I'd say, when will it come to a time when we can have peace? Okay. Cancel culture as well was a problem. Shadow banning has been a problem on social media. Free speech has been at risk for years. People have had their shows taken down because they believe in free speech, or they're a Donald Trump supporter or a Republican voter in Hollywood. They've been blacklisted at times because they support the Republican Party. How does politics end up discriminating people's creative talents? Because one wants to vote Labor, one wants to vote Liberal, Democrat, Republican. Oh, if you're a Republican voter, in some people's eyes, you're viewed as a racist. I do want to talk about Sam Kerr. Is Sam Kerr a racist? For what she said to the police officer. Clearly, he took offense to it, and that's understandable. I'm getting. It's like I'm starting to lose my patience, guys, because how we, as a Western world, how did we end up like this? Okay. It's just become a mess. When the economy is a mess, things go to shit. Simple as that. When the economy is good, I guess life is good because you can enjoy your favorite luxury items. You can go out, you can go to music concerts, whatever. But unfortunately, when it's a bad economy, the art's the first to go, and yet art is very important. It has therapy. It's very good for the brain. Music as well. People don't have the money to spend to go to the footy or whatever. What have we learned during these tough times? Does these tough times make us grow as people, living in a dark times that we're in? The world's changing. Things are more different than they were 10 years ago. Yeah, I mean, from my research, and there is going to be two sides to the story. The Muslim community do have a different view to anti-Semitism. There's two sides to every story. There is one thing I do agree on, and that's baiting. People do bait people in order to get a reaction for them to say something. That does happen, and no one should be baiting anyone, especially on chat forums, blog sites. Stay away from any political discussions about any politics. Stay away from it. I mean, I only commented on Transport Sydney trains because that's got to do with the train. But it's true. People are out there online to bait you, and then they want to use it against you. I do agree on that. Okay. That is absolutely true. So, I guess I'm at a point in my life, I'm just fed up with all this shit that is happening. And especially sports, when they want to start getting all PC. Do you guys think Australia's introduced some stupid laws? Every year, new laws change in Australia. At the start of the new year, Parliament, the government introduces new laws. I've told you about banning vaping, which was stupid. Honestly, that was the dumbest thing to do. And that, I get it, not healthy, but to do that, come on. Come on, guys. Has Chris Menz done his best to, as a state premier, to sort things out for the Labor Party? I think Chris Menz means well. I think he's got intelligence in him. But clearly nurses have been pissed off because they've been underpaid. They want more money. Again, cost of living goes up. They need to survive. They've got to eat. So sure, they have a right to protest. I found as a kid, when John Howard wasn't perfect either. Kevin Rudd, basically in the 2008 global financial crisis, well, he had that to deal with. But I can remember back then, a lot of people lost their jobs, factories closed, banks stopped lending money. It hit America more harder than here, actually. Yeah, but have things gotten worse now? I believe these urgent health clinics by Medicare were not done straight away. It was too slow. That should have been done as soon as Albo got elected. All this stuff that Anthony Albanese promised us, should have been done as soon as he got into office. But instead, he decides to get on the private jet going overseas talking about climate change and how we can put solar panels to clean up the environment and get net zero by 2050 or whatever it is. Okay. I'm worried about the future of Australia. I'm worried about me talking now. I know the world is in a dark place. Hamas and Israel, October 7th. This is where all this anti-Semitism started. All this protesting started October 7th. How did we get to this point? And people are protesting this all the way from Australia, and this is going on the other side of the world. Anti-Semitism, you got people graffitiing swastika, Nazi swastikas. White supremacy groups, people who are racist in those things. They support Adolf Hitler. I mean, that's not good. I don't know. We can't keep going on like this. So is the economy in distress. Guys, these issues need to be spoken about. Okay. They need to be spoken about. They need to be addressed. And yeah. So it's important to keep our free speech going on. Australia's changed a lot since I was a kid. Things have changed. The state of politics have changed. Like I said, I just get sick and tired of politicians just getting freebies out of the taxpayers and bludgeon off the taxpayers. Getting their free business class trips. Joe Halen failed the transport as well. I'm sick of it. All right. I'm getting fed up with it. Now, you are allowed to disagree with me on this show, and that's fine. You have the right to do that. Okay. And that's okay. I'm sick and tired of content creators getting discriminated as well. Because of their religious beliefs, political beliefs, and stuff like that. Okay. But that's how things are at the moment. Cricket Australia, I don't, like I said, not wanting to play a one day international on Australia Day like they used to. Which why how has this gotten in sport at the moment? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. So that's just how we are right now. We're in a mess. We're in a mess. Formula One as well, always there's rule changes happening. I know that drivers this year have to, I think they're going to have to wear like a cooling suit underneath. That'll be mandated. Mini DRS as well. McLaren were experimenting with the rear wing. They had a slight gap to get that DRS and extra airflow too as well. Weight limits are increasing in Formula One. Drivers can only weigh a certain amount of weight. They have a limit. I think is it 80 kilos they can only weigh up to. What I don't like about, look, this is the fallback to Formula One, is all these fiddly rule changes with the FIA saying that drivers have got to be a certain amount of weight and stuff like that. Just gets fiddly. I mean, that's the fallback to it. It's amazing how many talented racing car drivers don't make it into the Formula One. I believe Daniel Ricciardo's career ended too soon. It was kind of slack to do that to him in Singapore. Why didn't the team let him finish the season? If he wasn't going to be offered a contract for next year, why didn't they let him finish? Sergio Perez, Red Bull at least let him finish the year with Red Bull, which was great. But to do that to Daniel Ricciardo, who's busted his backside off, Formula One can be a cutthroat into business at times. Driver not performing up to expectations, they're like, we have to replace you. And then, like, to do that, I think his career ended too soon, honestly. And now they're not going to be doing the fastest lap, which kind of sucks because that was good. At least there's an extra point on offer. So they're always changing the rules all the time in Formula One. Yeah, clearly we rely so much on technology these days. It's crazy, isn't it? As to the good and the bad and the downside to technology is. And it's, well, we have to use it. It's like, if you don't have it, well, how do you get around? But that's the problems that's happening. And I am disappointed. I am not I'm not happy. But yeah, what can we do? What can we do? Families breaking up as well. Pressure, financial pressure, family will, families are splitting these days. I know my family has split, and yeah, that's hard. So yeah, that's how it is. But look, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed the podcast today. It's always great to sit here and chat. New podcasts are available every Friday at 6 p.m. Sydney, Australia time. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to the podcast today. I hope you have always enjoyed the discussions that we have. And leave any comments in the comments section. If you've listened to the live audio on Rumble, you can leave comments on Spotify, YouTube. Please subscribe as well and turn on notifications so you get new episodes every Friday at 6 p.m. Sydney, Australia time. And new products that are available on Motion Elements and Pond 5. So I thought to finish off this episode, I'm going to play you a track that I composed called Death Valley.